Now, last month, 12-year-old Billy Caldwell, who suffers from a rare form of epilepsy, was granted permission to be prescribed medicinal cannabis to help control his seizures. Now his mother is demanding health officials let her treat her son at home. Charlotte Caldwell and Billy returned home to Northern Ireland last night after spending 3 weeks in London. Charlotte says Billy needs 2 doses of medicinal cannabis a day as part of his treatment, and at the moment the only place that he can be given it is at hospital. That's a 2-hour drive away from his home in County Tyrone. Well, I've been speaking to Charlotte Caldwell.
We arrived back in Northern Ireland yesterday evening, and we had been informed just before we got on the flight. We had no information as to how Billy's medicines, he was going to access his medicine. So just before we got on the flight, we were actually in the departure lounge at London Heathrow Airport. We got a phone call from Steve Austin, the Deputy Chief Executive of the Belfast Trust, saying that I had to have Billy at the Royal Victoria Hospital in Belfast at 10 p.m. last night for his to access his medicine, and that was basically it. So we arrived in.
So Charlotte, were you expecting to be able to administer that medicine at home rather than having to go to the hospital?
What we were expecting was that the Department of Health and the Belfast Trust would have had some process in place, and so that we could have made a smooth landing in Northern Ireland. The Belfast Trust and the Department of Health here in Northern Ireland have had from the 19th of June to actually get a process underway so Billy could have been brought home to his own house in Northern Ireland.
So what you're facing now is currently 2 hospital visits per day for Billy to get his medication, and it's quite a long journey to the hospital, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's for one trip from our home in Castledearg to Belfast for Billy is a 4-hour round trip. So twice a day, that's an 8-hour round trip that Billy would have to endure. What we're saying is surely there's a more practical way of doing this, where Billy, on the recommendation of the Chelsea and Westminster Hospital, his clinician there, surely there's a more practical way of doing this, that Billy can be administered his medication at home. Now what I'm saying is by within the law, obviously, and by his GP in Castledearg, surely that would be a more practical and safe way of getting this across the line for Billy.
And so what response have you had to that?
None as yet. Absolutely nothing.
And what effect is this having on Billy?
Billy is on the highest spectrum of autism. Billy needs regularity. Billy needs to be at home in his own familiar surroundings with his toys and his garden. Billy is not dealing with this position that we've been left in very well. He's living, now we've had a check into a hotel here in Belfast last night again. He's in unfamiliar territory here once again. And I just think enough is enough, and I'm calling now on Steve Austin, the Deputy Medical Director of the Belfast Trust, and I'm also calling on Martin Dillon, the Chief Executive of the Belfast Trust. Please step up to the plate here and arrange this so my little boy can go home to his safe surroundings of his own house.
Well, that was Charlotte Caldwell speaking to me a little bit earlier on. We've had this statement from the Department of Health in Northern Ireland. They said yesterday, the Department of Health yesterday received an emergency licence application from Belfast Trust clinicians regarding medicinal cannabis use for Billy Caldwell. An emergency licence has today been issued by the department, replicating the licence issued last month by the Home Office for treatment at Chelsea and Westminster Hospital in London. We have also been in discussions with the Home Office to finalise arrangements for the immediate transportation of Billy's medicine from London to the Belfast Trust.